Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another awesome episode of Contractor Radio. Our goal here is to help contractors get an edge on their competition out there by entertaining them, educating them, inspiring them, and giving them some strategy and tactics that they can apply to their business. And today is going to be maybe one of the most inspirational stories that we've ever had on Contractor Radio. We are going to be talking with a young man that has accomplished something that very few people do in their very first year in the industry. We have a young fella that has he went from working at Subway and being in high school to selling $2 million in home services contracts in his first year. And so we want to talk with him, find out how he got that done and what he did to make those things happen. And I'm wearing a shirt today. You can see it. It says practice. And I'm going to bet that he did a lot of that. And that's our 2-minute drill for the day. If you want to get really good at what you're doing, you want to change your life, you want to financially position yourself maybe a little bit differently than you were before working at Subway, and you want to sell $2 million, it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of effort. And one of the biggest things that you can do to change that is practice and being dedicated to practice every day. Spending, whether it's 5 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour, whatever it may take, to get better at what you do in all facets of what you do. Whether it's knocking on a door and getting a lead or an opportunity, whether it's giving a presentation, handling an objection, asking for the sale, getting referrals. You want to practice that stuff as much as possible before you go out into the real world. And some of the helpful tips that we can give you on that practice is, first off, practice on your own. Make sure you do it out loud. Most of us practice like in our head and everything sounds wonderful, but the second we start saying it out loud, it starts to fall apart on us. So one of the ways you can get a really good idea of how you're doing with that is to record yourself. Set up a video camera, your phone, record yourself, and really get a strong sense of how your delivery is. You'll start to notice crazy things like you using your hands too much and probably bobbing your head and all these weird things that we do, saying too much. Those type of things will help you refine what it is that you do. Once you feel like you're really strong at it, then go to a peer, somebody that's on equal level with you, maybe a step above, and practice with them and get their input on, hey, is that good, not good? What would you do? What could I do better? And then finally, take it to that expert, that person in your organization that's either a sales manager, a coach, a trainer, whoever it may be, and pass it by them and see how you're doing. Let them give you some coaching. Hang around with the people that do great and learn from those people and practice with those people, and it will change the outcome of your yearly goal dramatically before it's all said and done. So before we hop in with our amazing guest today, here's a little word from our sponsor.
Want more 5-star reviews from your customers? At Signpost, we make it easy for your customers to give you great reviews on Google, Facebook, Yelp, and more. Our software connects with industry-specific solutions, driving even more reviews from your customers. Drive loyalty and repeat business by sending the right messages at the right times to your prospects and customers. Message your contacts from anywhere, anytime, using text, photos, and video all in one app. Check on progress with campaigns and review generation across Google, Facebook, and Yelp. Visit signpost.com and get your demo today.
Awesome. Welcome back to Contractor Radio Podcast. We are here today with our guest. This young man is an amazing young man. I got a few minutes to talk to him before we actually did this podcast today. And I was inspired. I was like, man, if I would have done what he's done at 19 years old, I would probably be in jail because I wouldn't know what to do with my money and probably be silly with it. So we're going to talk with him a little bit today, find out how he went from working at Subway to selling $2 million. Welcome to the podcast, Zach Ward.
Hey, nice to meet you guys.
Awesome. It's good to have you. Whenever you hopped on earlier and we were talking about this guy is 10 years younger than my oldest kid, and he's 9 years younger than my second oldest kid. And so it's amazing to see what you've accomplished, Zach. And before we bring in our other special guests that we're kind of keeping to the side there, tell us a little bit about your background. Growing up, what kind of got you into doing the things that you're doing nowadays?
Well, growing up, I'm a normal kid, played sports, did normal things a kid would normally do. My mom always told me growing up I had a sales personality because I would always talk to everybody and just always carrying on conversations. She'd always say I'm a talker. And then my one good friend, he got into doing this, and he mentioned it to me when I was still in high school, and it was right around when I turned 17 or 18, I can't remember. And he was like, dude, he's like, look at this. He's like, look what I'm doing. He's like, look at these checks, and showing me his checks and stuff like this. And it caught my eye. I was making, $8 an hour working at Subway and putting a lot of hours in there. And I know I had the drive, and he'd always say it's a lot of hard work and effort to do it, but I got into it, and I like doing it a lot.
That's cool. I've noticed people that come from something else into this, when they were at that something else, like you were at Subway. One of my favorite guys I've ever hired worked at Pizza Hut. He was a Pizza Hut delivery guy.
Yep.
And delivering pizzas, and he sold 1.7 million his first year, and while still going to college. And so he's another one of those like, hey, there's something to this guy that makes them different. And the thing I noticed is that at where he worked before, they recognized it. They knew that he was something a little bit different than everybody else. So I'm going to bet you showed up on time. You maybe did a little extra. Did they notice things like that about you?
Oh, absolutely. Customers would always come in. I mean, at Subway, you're sitting there making sandwiches right in front of them, and I'd always talk to them. I knew everybody that would come in, and they liked talking to me. And my manager would see that, and he'd really like that and stuff like that. He'd have me training other people and showing them how to do it the way I did it.
That's awesome. So you decided to get into this whole roofing thing, and a lot of it had to do with this person that was a person of influence, somebody you maybe looked up to, is my guess, or at least a really good friend, and you said, hey, money motivated, right? Like, whoa, that's really like real money. And and my mom says I got a sales personality, so maybe this thing will work out. And so you get into this thing. Was it because of this talent thing? You said, hey, I'm not really that scared. I'm a little scared, but not that scared.
At first, it was the money. I really wanted to get into it, but then I've learned that I do have a little bit of a talent with talking to people and just making a friend, and it just kind of goes from there.
Okay, cool. Well, you had somebody that was involved in this whole process with you. He's sitting in our green room right now, and he's kind of been sales coach along the way, right? Kind of helping you get this down and learning what you need to learn. We're going to bring him in right now. Hey, welcome to the conversation. Our champion coach of sales here at Contractor Coach Pro, and a mentor to you. Chuck, I got some questions about Zach, if that's okay with you.
Oh, I got a lot of information about Zach.
Well, I don't know if we want to share all of that. So what you notice, like, if I was a sales manager, I'm sitting there and I to be honest, 19-year-old kid, I don't know, right? I would be sitting there going, I don't know. Like, is he responsible enough? Is he gonna, do the job? Is he gonna get past the homeowner, right? Like, 19-year-old kid, how's he gonna do with a homeowner? And so there's all those like challenges and obstacles that get in the place of a really young guy. What'd you notice in him that was gonna help him get through all that?
Well, Jim, I first got to share with you. So I got this phone call from the owner there at American Home Tech, Jake, and he says, hey, I've got this guy. I want you to work with him. And I said, so where'd you get him from? He says, I got him from Subway. I said, did you just like leave there? Or what? And so after talking with Jake, I was very interested in working with Zach. And so when I got that opportunity to work with Zach, I didn't know what I was going to get into because a lot of the younger generation, they don't really jump in with both feet. And so working with Zach was, it was actually a breath of fresh air because when you talk about jumping in with both feet, he really wants to learn. He wants to put everything he's got into it. So working with a lot of the younger people, it's not like working with Zach. Zach wants it bad, and he wants to be better than everybody else. He wants to find out, what everybody else knows, so that I can use that and then go further than that. So Zach is one of a kind. I can't wait to see what he does in this industry. Working with him and helping him to understand the sales aspect as well as the technical aspect. He picked it up very, very quickly. And I've got to tell you, working with him, that his mom is one of those types of people that wanted to duct tape him to a chair, because he's always wanting to get up and go. I mean, you're not going to put him behind the desk. So he's definitely good at what he does, and he wants it bad.
So it sounds like to me he noticed something about you that I also noticed about the Pizza Hut guy. There was some drive, and there was also this ability to just talk to people, and it was comfortable. Like, it wasn't forced or anything like that. It was just naturally interested in whatever somebody else was up to, whether it be sales or you're buying a sandwich or whatever it may be. Is that, you said something earlier that you played some sports growing. What sports do you play?
Oh, basketball, football a little bit, baseball.
Basketball your favorite?
Yeah, I like basketball.
Yeah, basketball is my favorite. I fast moving the whole bit. Did you like losing?
What'd you say? I'm sorry.
Did you like losing?
Oh no, I hated it.
Yeah.
I'm competitive as well.
Yeah, that's usually a recurring theme when you're looking for talent and guys like this. You want to ask them about being competitive, and really challenge them in that interview process to see if they truly, like, a lot of people say they are, but if they are, it's like, I'm going to challenge you with this question, see how you handle that question. And if they're really competitive, even if they aren't perfect at the question, they're going to give it a good try. And so I assume some of those things happened. I've noticed a few things though. People that, it doesn't have to be sports, although sports seems to be the predominant one, but it was something that they were interested in when they were younger that I'm going to guess you weren't the guy that was batting ninth and sitting at the end of the bench, or, sitting on the bench in the basketball court and not getting much playing time. I have a feeling you might have played a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. Same for me. I started in 8th grade. I just tried out for the varsity team, 8th grade. Coach gave me a hard time about it. I'm like, hey, bring out the starting point guard. I'll play him. Let's go. And so, I was able to work my way onto that team. But that's that fire, right? That competitive aspect of things. And I'm going to also bet, and you tell me if I'm wrong about this, but on the skills that it took to be a good basketball player. I'm going to bet that your practice didn't end at practice time. Like, we have practice, it ends at school. School starts right after school, 3:30, whatever. Go to 5:30. Everybody goes in the showers and goes home, right? I bet you Zach didn't do that. I bet Zach kind of hung around, did some dribbling drills, shot the basketball, and maybe some passing drills with a buddy. I don't know. Did you do anything like that?
Oh yeah. If it wasn't at practice, it was when I got home from practice and I was hanging out with my buddies or my neighbors and playing basketball outside, throwing football, things like that. What position you play in football, just out of curiosity? Oh, I played DB.
Oh boy.
Yeah, but yeah.
You and I would be good friends. That's what I played as well. And I was like, hey, that dude's about to catch a ball. I get to smoke him. This is gonna be great. So that's pretty cool that we're similar there. So getting into this sales thing, there was some talent there. We got that kind of figured out. What was maybe some of the bigger challenges for you as you got into it? What was stopping you right away going, man, I don't know about this?
The first thing was knocking on people's doors, and I just didn't think it was, my dad always growing up, somebody knock on the door, but don't answer, don't tell them we're here, so I would always think about that, and I'd have bad thoughts in my head. But then, once I got that out of my head, and I really just tried to take control of the conversation whenever I knocked on the door and I had somebody talking to, and just have a good conversation with them.
So Chuck, you got a guy, he's got some talent. There's no fear there, because I had the same dad he did. And my dad was like, he wouldn't say, don't act like we're not here. He would run to the door, open the door, say, get the hell off my property. And so that was what I thought about doing. I'm like, this is going to be awful. And so you've got a guy like that. He's got some of those past fears and stigmas with the door knocking thing. How do you coach him get kind of through that and past that?
So when you look at somebody that has, whether it be call reluctance or knock reluctance, it's always, and I only say this for canvassers and callers, and that is, some will, some won't next. You got to look at the no's versus the yes. It's called going for no. And, if you have the mentality of understanding that I need to go out and get 100 no's today, even if you don't get as many yeses as you want, you still feel accomplished because you got your goal of the number of no's. But most of the time, what you're going to find out, and what Zach has found out, is you're going to come up with twice as many yeses than if you had that goal of, I'm going to get 20 yeses today, or I'm going to get 10 yeses today, and you get 20. That's really the mentality and the training that you need to have to be that canvasser.
So Zach, that was the thing, like focus on the no's, go get those, and the yes are going to come through. Okay, cool.
It's a numbers game, that's for sure.
It absolutely is. For me, it was a little bit of a mind game too. There was this mind game of fear there, and just perception. This perception of what a door knocker is, somewhere between ditch digger and garbage man, right? Like that's kind of what we picture in our mind, somewhere around there. And I can remember being pretty frustrated with it. Although I was experiencing success and I was doing some similar things like, hey man, I got to go get all these no's and I'm going to get the yeses. I can remember sitting down one day and going, why am I doing this? Why am I knocking all these doors? What's driving me to do this? And I remember looking at every door. I can remember this like it was yesterday. I looked at every door and I had $1,000 bill on it. And that was why I was knocking the door. That was $1,000 bill I could go pick up if I just knocked that door. And that was motivated me for a while, but it still kind of had that stigma of salesman, right? And I thought about it a little bit longer, and I said, why do I have to knock these doors? Why aren't these people just calling us? Why aren't they just, finding us, searching us out, and we go to their house? And I came to the realization because they didn't know. They didn't know we existed, and really somebody else should be doing it. And so this other entity that should be doing it, especially in the insurance world, is the insurance company. They know every homeowner inside of that hail map way better than we do, and they know where they live, they're inside of that zone, and all that stuff. They also have a contract with them that says, hey, you have damage to your house, we're going to take care of it. Why in the world aren't they calling every one of those people saying, hey, you should probably get an inspection on your home? Well, pretty simple. They don't want to spend the money. So it changed my whole perspective and mindset on it that, hey, my job isn't to go out there and sell as many people as I can. My job is to go out and educate as many people as I can. And if I can get them to understand why their insurance company isn't calling them, they're probably going to be my customer. And it worked out really well for me. My numbers went up dramatically. And so I see you shaking your head. You're like, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm doing. And so that's super cool to see. Any other challenges? I mean, what's been your worst experience at the door? What's the worst thing that's ever happened?
There's been a lot.
Slam door rights that you got.
It's some people are just having bad days when you they don't appreciate you knocking on the door.
Yeah, and people are. That's a great way of looking at it. They're having a bad day. You're not. They're having a bad day. Just pick the wrong time, wrong place, on to the next one, right? And that's no skin off. It's more about them than me. Great way of approaching that. So I would guess there was a lot to learn in all of this. Canvassing scripts, presentation, product, installation knowledge, and all that. What you do to get all that stuff packed into your brain as fast as possible so you can get, to get to 2 million, you had to learn pretty quick.
Oh, yeah. I've always said knowledge is king to me. Reading books, watching videos, listening to Chuck, listening to other mentors, people I work with, just listening to them, talking to them, communicating with them, asking questions. They're all things that help me learn and, learn about the business, learn about what I'm doing, what I'm selling.
So Chuck, was there any practice involved at all?
There's definitely practice involved with Zach. He was forced to practice on the customer. We don't always want to do that, but he was kind of forced to be out there and practice on the customer. And luckily, it worked out very, very well. Everybody loves Zach. One of the nice things about being young is you can always say that you're new, and everybody, if you're new, then they take it easy on you. Even the adjusters love the new guys. They're going to help you out.
Yeah, I played that part.
Zach still says that he's new.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. Like, I am new. I'm still learning, and you will be for quite some time. There's no way to take in all the knowledge of this industry in 6 months or a year or even 3 years. I mean, I'm still learning to this day. I wouldn't necessarily call myself new, but I'm still learning a bit. And so in this practice, it's hard to do sometimes. And this is where I feel like contractors get lucky. They get lucky because a guy like Zach comes along that can learn with the customers, and he can connect and build relationship right away. But we end up losing a lot of people that could probably have been really good if they would have gotten that practice, they would have gotten that attention, they would have gotten that coaching. Would you agree with that, Chuck?
Absolutely. Absolutely. One thing I do want to add is when working with Zach, one thing I didn't have to do that I tend to do on a lot of my clients and our clients is focus. I didn't have to focus on the close. I didn't have to focus on the price presentation. Zach, what really catapulted him is understanding the inspection and understanding how to do the inspection, so that he got, he was able to step one step ahead of everybody else that knocked on that door.
So Zach, does that mean we're not supposed to inspect everything as fast as we can and go, hey, guess what? You got hail damage, right? And what does an inspection look like to you?
To me, what I've seen is no one inspects the roof like they should. Doing test squares, marking things up that most people wouldn't look at as damage. It might not be damage, but it's definitely something wrong with the roof that is a manufacturing issue or something like that. And coaching the homeowner and showing them, taking a video, walking them down, walking them through their entire roof, bringing the roof down to them. Because more times than not, they're not going to get up there. Bring the roof down to them, sit there with an iPad, show them, say, hey, there's this, there's that, hail damage, wind damage, show them all your chalk marks, zipper lines.
Do you find yourself using any terminology that the homeowner might not know that positions you into this, like, I have some knowledge that you don't have type feel?
I don't like to really say big words. I like to put it in their perspective of things so they know. I could be saying like, this is racked, this shingle's racked, it's not right, it was a bad installation. Simple as that. If they ask questions, stuff like that, educate them a little bit more on it. But
yeah, so that's really key what you did right there. So it's saying the shingles are racked. Most homeowners don't know what that means, but you're able to explain what that means, which positions you into this position of, oh, wow, he's 19, but he's an expert. He actually knows what he's talking about, which is unusual for a 19-year-old kid, number one. And number two, is unusual for most contractors. Most contractors don't explain things like that, don't position themselves as expert. They position themselves kind of as a, hey, you've got damage and we can help you with the insurance company situation. Mm-hmm. That's about as far as they go. That's super cool that you take it and put it into language they understand, but still able to get across, hey, I know what I'm talking about. Would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Cool. So I'm guessing you made a little bit of money this year.
A little bit.
Okay. What was your first big purchase?
I bought a truck, moved into my own place, bought a couple TVs, big TVs. I just kind of spoiled myself with clothes and just going out doing fun stuff, going on vacations. I just went to Hawaii 2 months ago, back in October. Been on a cruise. I've been living life a little bit.
Now, is that stuff that would have normally been in your family's history to go to Hawaii and go on cruises and stuff like that, or is that kind of new for you?
I don't think anybody in my family's been to Hawaii. So it's cool to be branching out and stuff like that, and taking on new opportunities. And
that's what I love about this industry. this industry is a vehicle. We probably weren't sitting, I'm going to guess when you were sitting there in high school, you weren't going, man, I can't wait to be a roofer, right? You were probably thinking about being a basketball player or whatever it was that you were going to be.
Yep.
What did you think you were going to be?
Well, as a childhood dream growing up, I always wanted to be an athlete, but you know how that goes. When I was going into college, I was going to go in for accounting, but I soon realized that that's a fairly boring job.
I couldn't see you in accounting. Anybody to talk to?
I don't even like sitting at this desk right now. I got to get up and move.
Yeah, that's another characteristic that I see of people that are really successful in this really fast. They're like wound up energy. They're like a rubber band that's just waiting to be released at any point in time. My grandfather always described me as like a BB in a fruit jar. Like it's just boom, 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 all the time, bouncing around. Would you say that that's one of your qualities? Like it's just high energy all the time?
Absolutely. The owner of the company, Jake Stroughton, he's always told me his motto is always excitement sells, excitement sells, excitement sells. And I would always think about that if I'm having a bad day or if I knock on a couple doors and, you know, I'm feeling down and, you know, I get the door slammed in my face, it's just go to the next one. Just keep being excited, you know, be loud, you know, get them involved. And that's the way I like doing things. And I think everybody should do it that way.
Yeah, energy's magnetic.
Yes,
it is. Like I just want to hang out with Zach. I can tell just talking with hair on the on this call. Like he would be a guy I would hang out with. I'd be like, hey, he's pretty cool. He's got a lot of energy, and we're gonna have a lot of fun. And that's who people buy from. People buy from people that they like and they can have fun with. There's kind of an old saying that goes with that. They buy from people they know, like, and trust. And so it seems like you're able to accomplish that quite well.
Yeah. I want to add real quick. He just mentioned about being an athlete. One of the things that I see so often, because I work with so many across the United States, so many sales reps, is there's so many athletes. And what we need to understand is that these athletes, this is the athlete of the business world, is being a sales rep. But not only that, is when athletes want to be an athlete when they get older, it's only 1% of 1% that gets to do it. And where Zach is right now is he gets to be 1% of 1% of where we are. 19 years old, selling over $2 million, which is 1% of 1% of the people in our industry. I mean, Zach, congratulations, buddy. I mean, if I could give you a high five right now, I would, bro.
I definitely like virtual high fives, man. The whole social distancing, this thing worked out pretty good.
Chuck, I've never put it in that perspective, but the way you said that, it makes me feel much better about myself.
Well, hey, hold on a second.
In my division.
So here's a thing to remember. Don't rest on your laurels. You mentioned something earlier before we hopped on. I want to kind of go back to that for a second. Did you have any goals of like what you wanted to achieve or sell in this first year?
I think I have it written down. I think my goal was $1 million in sales.
But you hit 2 million, and you didn't even know, right? So
I knew I was up there, but I didn't. One day he was just like, "Oh, you're at 2 million." I was like, "Oh, really?"
So obviously, the number wasn't the focus.
Yeah,
that wasn't the thing driving you. What was driving? What was pushing you?
To be completely honest, we have a group chat with a couple of our sales guys, and I just try to outsell everybody every week. And that's my main goal of every week, is just to outsell everybody. And I like I said, I like competition. So
so it was winning.
More.
So winning was more important than the money, it sounds like to me.
It started with the money, but now it's more bragging rights, trying to outsell everybody and be number one.
So that's awesome. One of the things I did, because I knew the money wasn't my motivator. It wasn't the thing pushing me. And so I remember being in my first training class. There was more than one of us. There was about 10 of us. And there was one other guy with some talent. Like I could tell he was actually pretty good. And I went, "Hey, man, you want to make a friendly wager?" He's like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, I'll bet you $20 I sign more people this week than you do." He's like, "I'm in." I said, "There's a catch." He goes, "What's that?" I said, "Whoever wins The other guy has to give him the $20 in the sales meeting in front of everybody else. He's like, I'm still in. And we went and did that for the entire time we were both at the same company. And I wanted that $20 way more than I wanted the commissions, and I just wanted that win, that trophy, right? So that's super cool, Zach. I like the competitive side of things. So here's the next thing. So you've accomplished a lot in your first year. You've done like 1% on 1%, like Chuck said. What's next? What's coming for you in 2021?
Well, so at RoofCon, when I was at RoofCon, I think I wrote down a goal of trying to go for 3.5 million in sales this year. So I'm looking forward to that starting here soon in the next, week or two.
So with 3.5, you're gonna have to get better at a few things. What are the things you gotta get better at?
Generating more leads. Knocking doors. Like I said, no one wants to knock doors. It's not, no one wakes up in the morning and wants to go out and knock on someone's door. But you just got to have the drive of it to push and just keep moving forward with it and just knocking on doors and just getting the bad thoughts out of your head and just going and getting after it and getting it done.
So one of the best pieces of advice I got about knocking doors was there was one door you had to get open before anybody else's. And that's the one on your truck, right? Like get out of the work. You up for a little advice?
What was that?
You up for a little advice on how to get to that 3.5 million? I'm sure Chuck is probably giving you some ideas.
Always.
So think about it this way. You can only knock so many doors, right? The time will run out on you. So how do you leverage other opportunities to create more people coming to you? Think of every one of those doors that you knock as somebody that knows a lot of other people, and identify those people whenever you start to create that relationship. They're a CPA, they're a plumber, they're a landscaper, they're a whatever. They got clients too. Applying some incentive there, then they become little sales guys for you. And so instead of having to knock everybody's door for it, they're starting to call you all the time.
Yeah.
Investigate into a few different programs. And what I mean by that is creating some programs that are like insurance agent referral systems, real estate broker referrals. You create this network, and you'll get more and more of that the longer you're in this, where people just know who you are and you're their roof guy, and they're going to start sending people to you, and that's how you'll start hitting that 3.5 million. And the last piece of advice I'll give you, if you really want to hit some big numbers, start learning that commercial stuff. If your company does the commercial thing, don't just try to go sell it and that's the only thing you do. Start learning it. Start drawing in that knowledge and getting that information you need, and then go have some fun and knock a door or two. It might surprise you, because I think people are more intimidated by knocking commercial doors than they are residential doors, and they don't know the approach. I'm sure Chuck can probably clue you in on some of that, and it might surprise you. One of the best things I've ever seen for that is literally walk into the building like with a clipboard and like a little report thing, and maybe your phone out as like a camera, and just walk around inside of one of those commercial projects and start taking pictures of all the stains and spots and stuff like that on their roof, and then find somebody that works and goes, "Hey, you guys got leaks all over the place here. Who should I talk to about that?" And they're like, "Yeah, we've been trying to get somebody to deal. You need to call so-and-so," and then you get to the person you need to get to that way. It's a pretty slick way of getting a little bit of commercial business.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Jim, if I can offer up a little bit of advice.
Sure.
Working with the reps that have been 2 million, 6 million, you're not going to get above $2 million by yourself. I tell everybody that, what you don't want to do is wear yourself out to the point where now all of a sudden you're at 3 million or 2.5 million and you hate your job, because you don't want to go down, because everybody's going to make fun of you because you're like, oh, you used to be that good. But yet you try to go any further, you're just going to wear yourself out. I says, when you're going to be more than a $2 million carrier, you have to have drive, discipline, organization, and help. You need to start building your team, whether it's you're going to go out and get your own canvassers, whether you're going to go out and find somebody to help you out with the production piece. No matter what, you can't do that all on your own. Nobody has ever sold, $4 to $6 million knocking their own doors. I mean, they have to have a team in place to be able to work that. I mean, that was something I learned way back when I was in mortgage, is I couldn't dial my own phone. If I wanted to be that 50 or $5 million to $20 million mortgage guy, I had to have other people dialing my phone for me. So again, you have to have that team. You have to be disciplined, and you have to have that drive to actually do it.
One of the best things about having your coach on here is he knows what goes on at your business way better than I do. And that would have been my other piece of advice, but I don't know if that's acceptable or not. Mm-hmm. If it is, get the neighborhood kids to put out flyers for you.
Yep.
I have my own kids address handwritten letters to the homeowners in very specific neighborhoods that I wanted to work. And I would give them something every time we would get somebody. Think strategically a little bit more than just hard work. Think smarter, not harder. And you'll be surprised at what you can accomplish. The last piece I'll add to that is time management is going to be really, really important. So learn the concept of what's called a block schedule. You can look that up, block schedule, and you'll start to see how you can manage that time a little bit better. Because it will overrun you, like Chuck said, and you will, if you want to get into, I got guys in our coaching downline that we work with, they sell $4, $5, $6 million. But they got people helping them. There's somebody writing estimates. There's somebody knocking doors for them. There's programs that they're doing that insurance agents are sending them business. So there's lots of ways to get to that. And one cool thing, though, is if you learn that commercial, you can sell some really big numbers like 20 million plus, which I know a few guys that do that. And you can kind of do some calculations on what that means to you. And I look forward to seeing, like, in 2 years, I want to interview Zach again and go, hey, did Zach just stick at 2 million, or did he do something and learn something to go up into that 4, 5, 6, 10, maybe even bigger? We'll want to do a little catch-up call, I think, is what we'll do. So, Zach, I always ask a few questions of our guests, and this has been pretty awesome so far. I think you've given a lot of inspiration to, that's the big thing, like young people. This is a great business, great industry to get into. And if you feel like you're somebody that can, talk in a group of friends and stuff like that, you probably do pretty well in this if you are willing to learn and you're hungry for that knowledge and growth. What's the best advice you ever got from a mentor?
So one of the best advice I've gotten is just always keep moving forward. I know Chuck was always mentioning that, always keep moving forward. The drive, getting things done, just going after it and getting it done. Just keep moving forward with it. Also, another one is from my boss, Jake. He like I said earlier, he's always saying excitement sells, excitement sells, excitement sells. So those are two big things that I like to always think about every single day. I should wake up and have it, on my wall or something, just thinking about it every day.
I don't know if you need it on the wall. I think you got it like part of your blood right now.
It's locked in now.
All right. So I've got another question for you, but we're going to break for just a second for one of our sponsors, and we'll be right back.
The Atlas Pro Plus Contractor Program is designed to help you build your business. It gives you tools and resources, training, industry insights, bonus structures, technical knowledge, the brand power and science of 3M Scotchgard, and what we think is the best product and warranty in the industry. Become part of the family that is succeeding and growing their businesses.
We went from nobody ever heard of us to the #1 roofing company in our region.
And we've gone from 12 roofs a year to 20, 35, and we did over 400 last year.
We're on track right now to do 1,000 roofs this year.
You'll begin earning Atlas bucks and rewards as you move up to even greater reward levels. Become an Atlas Pro today.
All right, everybody. Awesome. Thanks to our sponsor for supporting us here at Contractor Radio. We're back with our podcast. We've got Zach Ward here, the Subway kid that became the $2 million sales guy in a year. We also have his coach, Chuck Thokey here, also known as our sales champion here at Contractor Coach Pro. And we've been talking a lot about what it takes to really generate some big numbers. And it comes down to a few things, it seems like to me. There needs to be some talent, right? Like I walk in with some inherent talent, some drive and hunger. And this just thirst for the knowledge. And then the last thing I would probably put is there's a competitive aspect to you. This competitive aspect that you just want to win. It's not all about the money, all about the top sales number, the goal number. It's about, hey, did I beat you this week? And so I think those are kind of recurring themes with these guys that I've seen that do some pretty serious numbers. So I asked this question to every one of our guests, and I kind of wonder what you're going to say. This may be a pretty big question at 19 years old, but we all only have so much time on this planet, right? And there's an end to all of us. On that day when that happens, there's going to be people that come by and they're going to be celebrating you. How do you want to be remembered? What do you want your legacy to be?
I would just want to be remembered as someone that just was a nice person, went out and did his job, did a little bit more than what most people would do. I would want everybody to look up to me and like, hey, I want to be like that guy, or do the things that he was able to do. And, and I want to be able to teach people and teach them the ways that I've learned from Chuck. I've learned from multiple people, and I'd like to refer that on and keep passing it on and on and on.
Pay it forward. I like it. Aspirations to be a sales manager and that kind of stuff at some point in the future?
Yeah, so I actually just got promoted to being a sales manager. So I'm sort of kind of running my own team right now, and it's pretty weird. Trying to run people that are older than me, but I'm learning a little bit and getting taught how to do it.
Yeah, I got promoted to sales manager at 19 years old, much like you, and I had 40 salespeople that answered to me, and they were all older than I was. You'll do just fine, Zach. You'll do just fine. Put them first. You've got some new skills to learn probably, but based on our conversation, you seem to have this inherent aspect to you that you want to help other people do well. Mm-hmm. If you use that in your management style, you'll do really well. Awesome. That's really good. Zach, you did a great job today. Chuck, thanks for being on board. I want to keep up with you. Are you on Facebook and stuff like that?
Am I?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can look me up on Facebook.
Okay, I'm gonna look you up. I'm gonna friend you out there. I want to keep track of what's happening with Zach over the next few years. And thank you guys both for being on our show today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks, Zach.
All right, everybody. That was this week's episode of Contractor Radio. If you're not inspired to get out there and go knock a few doors, do what it takes to get ahead, go out and win a few sales competitions, I don't know what will. I mean, that's a 19-year-old young man that has literally changed the trajectory of his life by getting involved in this restoration and contracting industry. Some of the things I took away from that is energy sales. Like that was one of the big takeaways. Excitement sales. He said it multiple times. It was one of the things he talked about from his mentor, the owner there, Jake, that excitement sells. And I would add to that confidence. This confident excitement gets people involved. And the way to get confidence is to gain that knowledge. Like, I got to know what it is that I'm talking about before I can get really comfortable and excited about it. And finding those people that will give you that information, share that information, provide you the training, and put in the practice time is going to be paramount to your success in this, in this industry. Last but not least, there are obstacles in our path. And the other word that he used quite a bit was drive. And so you got to figure out what's driving you. And last time I checked, making money can early on be a pretty big driver, but you actually heard Zach mention it, that it's not what's driving him now. There's something else. And that thing that's driving him right now is competition. He wants to win each and every week. And a win can look different. It might not necessarily be top sales. It might be that he got better at something. That was a personal win in this particular thing. He knocked more doors that week. He talked to more people that week. He increased his closing percentage that week. So you can still have wins without necessarily being the top dog every single week. It's just all about setting what those personal goals are that you're after. And that'll be the last thing I talk about today is when you do achieve these kinds of numbers, you really don't have a whole lot of competition anymore. The competition starts to go away. So the only competition you have now is you. And that's where you start to find those that extra gear. It's just like playing a sport. When you're the best guy at that sport, you don't stop getting better. You find other ways to get better and improve yourself, and you challenge everything you do based on your own results, not anybody else's. So for Zach, I hope that he's out there competing against himself to knock a few more doors, close at a little higher percentage, help a few more people, and starting to set those personal goals as his competition each week instead of necessarily his teammates and peers. I can't wait to see what he does in the future. Thanks for joining us on Contractor Radio. We look forward to seeing you again next week on another great episode.